Hello and welcome to Sampson Judo. This is part 2 of our 10K Q&A. Rafael Araha, you asked the question, how difficult would it be to start a project of including judo as a permanent activity in the schools all around the UK? I mean, maybe some partnership with the government or some organization, even if it's a local project. Do you have such a project in mind? I totally see you as head of such initiative. Cheers and keep it up with the channel. I would like to see the blog on competition travels back. They are the best. Firstly, Rafael, I'm humbled for you to suggest that it be a project that I'll be able to take part. There has been other initiatives in the past, but sadly it's been a very, very difficult mammoth task. For something like this to take part is something that needs to be backed up by the government because it needs to be funded, and it is always about money. As it stands at the moment, all previous projects and attempts to initiate something like this have always fallen short. Possibly in the future, if and when judo becomes more popular, maybe it's something that we can look at. But for the time being, we are independently approaching schools and trying to encourage children to take part in a variety of judo schools all around the country. But for the time being, that needs a lot of funding, and we're nowhere near that yet. And regarding the vlogs, if people are still interested in them, leave a comment below and we'll bring them back to you. And Samuel Charalambos, you're asking me, what are we going to be doing on Wednesday? On Wednesday, we're going to make sure that we don't leave any muscle, any bones not hurting, especially after Christmas. Vilo, you asking the question, what advice would I give on a newbie in judo? The first and foremost is, obviously, it's very important that you do turn up regular to your classes, because like everything, foundation is very important. So the first few weeks are the most important. The first few months are important. And secondly, pay attention. Listen to everything your instructor says. Pay attention, turn up regular, and practice and think about judo all the time. It's really as simple as that. B. Gonzalez is asking whether we do a short video on procedures of starting a class, closing a class, warm-ups and warm-downs. This is very, very important. It's something that has been in the pipeline to actually show the traditional formalities and the correct way to warm up and warm down, and a basic structure of a session. This is very much in the pipeline, and we are looking forward to putting that into practice. Laundry Sibomana asked the question, according to me, can we hope in the future that we will see some of the forbidden techniques to be allowed again in competition? Life revolves in a circle. Everything that goes away does come back. I wouldn't hold your breath. Judo at the moment is steering well away from judo. If you want to do all the techniques that you love and see and believe in, then look out for JFA UK International or the World Judo Federation. The reason why we set up these organizations is for this reason alone. We believe that these techniques should not be forgotten, and we should be allowed to use them in competitive judo as a martial art. So they are happening, you just got to join the right organization. Tim Still Local 282 asks, incredible videos, you seem to have an accent, where are you from? I'm originally from Cyprus. I'm a Greek Cypriot. I came to the UK when I was 11 years old, and my accent is still with me. I can't get rid of it, so it's all Greek to me. Nico Roberto asks, what's the best way, in my opinion, to progress in judo? Well, number one, listen to what I have to say. Number two, watch my videos, and most importantly, you need to belong to a judo class, and you need to listen to your instructor, train, and more importantly, when people make this mistake, they do not travel. It's very important to travel to different classes and learn from different instructions. That way you get a better outlook on what judo really is. Stavros asks, what club do I teach at? My personal club is in London. It's called the Sobel Judo Club. I have been teaching there for 45 years, and that is the base for JFA UK. The link will be below. Thank you. Saito. Saito says he's new to judo and he has a problem placing his legs in the right place. So what can he do to improve this? The first important is to get your teacher or even a fellow student to sit down and look at where you may be going wrong. You obviously are putting your legs in the wrong place because you don't feel comfortable. Normally when you feel comfortable, your legs or your hips or your arms are normally in the right place. So you need someone from outside to look at what you're doing wrong and slowly correct one step at a time. Nivo UF asked the question that he has problem practicing with a lot of ukis because they're very stiff, and it obviously affects his way of practice. A stiff uki is normally someone who's very inexperienced and who is very uncertain how to fall properly. So there are exercises that your teacher should be able to put every uki through to develop their confidence. Hopefully, not in the near future, we'll be able to show you some training exercises where it elevates an uki's experience and his confidence to be able to receive a throw. It is a common problem. The only way is to talk to uki, explain to them that they're being very stiff and they're making your throwing techniques very difficult, because they need to be relaxed. They need to learn how to receive a throw so uki and tori can benefit from the technical skills of judo. So in time they will get more confident, they will be more relaxed. But the best way, if you constantly have trouble, is try to practice with normally the highest grade in the class, will tend to have more confidence, and he should be able to help you understand the throw simply by allowing himself to be thrown. So give it time, it will get better. It is a common problem. If you find that they're still being stiff, and especially in randori, you need to train yourself to create more movement, to become more faster, and also understand that in competition, most competitors will be stiff and they will still try to hold you back. So don't look at it as an obstacle, look at it as a challenge. Seth Botham asks, what is the best technique to do on somebody from BJJ who's in a bend over position? In my experience, Ashiwaza, any sweeping technique is very reachable and very doable, and for me, it's always worked for me, very effective. Ashiwaza. Alex W, I like your question. How did I become the undisputed king of judo puns? Well, I started judo and I just fell for the puns. John Stevenson asks me whether I know Itutu no Kata. The answer is yes, I've known Itutu no Kata from the age of 15. It's one of a very fundamental kata, and I love it. And the answer is yes, I know it, and I'm gonna know it till the day I die. Monica Johnson asked me what drew me to martial arts in the first place. It's very simple. It was back in the 1970s. I was influenced by Bruce Lee films, and my love for martial arts were inspired by basically Bruce Lee. How I came to do martial arts, that's a long story, but it was by sheer accident that I started to practice judo. If you go to the link below, there is footage of me explaining how I came to run across judo, which is quite amusing. June Hector asked the question of what is my advice for teaching children from 5 to 13 years old and regarding competition. Two categories here. It's very important to understand that 5-year-olds are there for a little bit of fun. They don't know about competition, so it's very important that you install a strong foundation. It's very important to concentrate on their younger age to teach them fundamental principles, etiquette, discipline, and make judo fun. Make sure they enjoy themselves, but at the same time following and adapting the rules and regulations of judo. To me, competition is not that important, but everything we do in life is competition. You can introduce them to competition, but do not make a big thing out of it. Always encourage them that it's about learning, it's not about winning, it's about taking part, and emphasize the fact that they enter a competition. It helps to make the competition successful. It also is a good opportunity for their parents and family to see them in action. And it's very, very important that even though they don't win medals, that a certificate or some sort of award is given to children. This gives them motivation, doesn't make them feel that they've lost. Always emphasize the competition is another extension of their judo curriculum, and it's their way of them learning. So competition, yes, not too much competition, but make it fun and educational. As a child progresses and gets a little bit older, 13, 14, 15, and obviously they've accumulated a degree of knowledge, then you can slowly start introducing more competition and more awareness of executing what they've learned, and make competition a regular part of their judo development plan. This one's for Kiai. Kiai asked the question, how many years does it take to get a black belt? We're all different, we're all individuals, and that really is determined, number one, is how many times you practice a week, how good your instructor is, how committed you are, and what sort of abilities you have. A black belt is only something that holds your trousers up. It's really about education and learning. Some people take years to get their black belt. Some people never get their black belt. If you train hard and you have some ability and commitment, there is no reason why you couldn't achieve a senior black belt within 5 to 6 years, which is a very good development time for someone achieving a black belt. So 5 to 6 years. There have been exceptions. People have managed to achieve them in 3 years. But again, it all depends how much you're prepared to put into it, how much training, how much practice, and how committed you are. Danny Marcus asks, how do I explain to a beginner regarding the intensity of their practice so they don't go hard like Randori? First of all, beginner is like a blank canvas. They don't really know competition. They don't know what they're doing. So it's very important that for you to get them to practice what they've been taught. I always emphasize like uchikomi, they're moving around, and the idea is they relax and they allow each other to turn in and build their confidence into moving people while they're moving around. Explain to them that it's not competition, and I do not allow too much resisting. It's very important to understand that this is a practice, that is not competition, and the emphasis is for them to achieve what they've just learned, whether it be Osotogari, Ogoshi, Morote Senagi. And you need to be on their case, so when Tori turns into Uki, Uki allows Tori to turn in and throw them. So you need to monitor them while they're training to get them used to moving, creating movement, agility, and allow the receiving of techniques. This is maintained for the period of 2-3 months. Once such student has developed turning in skills, where he develops the confidence and the freedom to turn in, then slowly you can add a little bit of resistance and build it up very gradually. But if you emphasize competition from the early stages, you'll get very stiff students. Movements, agility, flexibility, confidence, skill and technique has to be implemented in the first 3 months of a student. This he will learn to recognize as a difference between a practice and a development plan compared to a resistant competition. Tommy Weber, can you talk about the use of Kiai in judo? Do you use Kiai? Are Kiai often used in competition to unsettle the opponent or to generate power? In general, Tommy, we don't encourage Kiai. Not in the same form as karate and some other martial arts. Judo is a more quieter, softer form of judo. The Kiai happens within, not external, so everything is a little bit more controlled and quiet. But sometimes, like when you're lifting a weight or exerting energy, if you're turning in to throw somebody who's very heavy and you quite haven't got the dynamics right, and then you will automatically release a Kiai because of the extra energy that you're trying to achieve, and that Kiai will give you a little bit of extra energy to finish a technique because you're extending your energy. But sometimes Kiai is used to intimidate your opponents. I'll tell you a very quick story. When I fought a very famous Japanese guy, just before he fought everybody, he would come out and bow, and then he'll Kiai just before he fought. This unsettled his opponent, and it's like he took the advantage. He wasn't scared, so psychologically he was getting the upper hand. And then when he took hold of his opponents, he would throw them. And he was a very, very efficient judoka. He did this throughout the competition, and I noticed that he did this every time. So when it was my turn to fight him, it was an open category. He was 130 kilos and I was only 75 kilos, so I was very, very light. But I wanted to intimidate him, so I used the Kiai. Just as we bowed, instead of him Kiaiing, I Kiai'd in front of him. So this took him by surprise. He suddenly looked back and he thought, what a cheeky guy. He Kiai'd before me. In a martial art way, I basically won that contest because I beat him at his own game. When we took hold, there was a grin on his face because he thought I was very cheeky because I played him at his own game. To cut the story short, I threw this guy for ippon with a nice morote sienagi. And at the end, he came up and he cuddled me like a true gentleman. He shook my hand and he invited me back to Japan just simply because of my cheeky attitude and my outstanding judo. But as a general rule, we don't use Kiai the same as karate because we are more calm, more collective, and more in control. And it's a nicer environment in the judo world. Victoria Lamb asked, what's my favorite technique? I love judo. I love every single technique in judo, whether it's standing or groundwork. I've gone through stages where I've tried to develop many techniques. I'm known for a devastating taitoshi, morote shiotoshi, and morote sienagi. But if I had to put my hand on my heart, I would say taitoshi is possibly a throw you do not want to get thrown by. Okay, so that's the end of part 2. We hope you've enjoyed it. For part 3, please follow the link below.